I'd like to welcome you to our latest webinar on documents and policies. This webinar will provide you with the opportunity to reflect on your current practice and provide guidance in using school IP. I personally have a background in education from a teaching and leadership perspective, as well as from IT training and product development. Schools and colleges are complex organisations and have many moving parts. Parents trust schools and colleges and organisations to keep people safe and provide a good education, and teachers expect organisations to support them in delivering quality teaching and learning. There must be clear policies and procedures to function effectively on a day-to-day basis, covering everything from attendance to emergency procedures. An organisation with effective policies is a consistent organisation with good decision making. Having effective policies empowers an organisation to ensure teachers and students clearly know expectations of behaviour and performance, provides guidance on decision making, adopts a consistent and clear response across the organisation, with everyone knowing what to do. It demonstrates everyone is treated fairly and equally. It offers protection from potential breaches of legislation and compliances, such as health and safety. We've all sat through lengthy meetings trying to agree on a policy. It can often get confusing trying to keep track of it all, with someone not receiving a document or not completing a particular task. One thing that's definitely needed is a good policy management. Being able to take all the pieces of information and keep them organised in one place, avoiding bottlenecks, where one person or department is holding up the entire process by sitting on something that needs to be passed on to somebody else. Many current solutions are inefficient, involving managing complex monster spreadsheets with different versions of the same policy seem to be bouncing around, being accidentally sent out, or confidentiality is breached because someone who isn't supposed to see something actually sees something. A robust policy management software solution is the solution. We have released a new module to add to our suite of cloud-based improvement tools, and it's designed to help organisations manage their policies effectively. Many leaders in organisations have told us the process of managing policies does cause them a few headaches. And there's usually over 100 or so policies circulating around, with a variety of owners, review periods and sign-off procedures. Having policies all together in one place with notifications automatically going out to reviewers as a clear view of something that's actually needed, and reduces the admin burden and frees up more time to do anything more important things. So what I'm going to do now is to actually show you how IP supports policies and documents. So in our suite here on the left hand side, you'll notice there's a section called policies, and this is what I've opened up here. And these are a selection of policies that we've just updated to just show you how the process works. So the first thing to get you started is the ability to actually add a policy. So when we actually add the policy, these are the sections we need to complete. So instead of just starting with a blank piece of paper, what I think would be the best way is actually opening up one already. So if I open up one, you can see that when it comes around to adding that policy detail, so first of all, it automatically will populate the date it's created. And if you want to then change the date, you can, if you so wish. The owner. So obviously there'll be a drop down of everybody in your organisation that will allow you then to put who the owner is. A code if you so wish, but many people don't use a code. It's all about identification. So if you choose a code. The main title and a bit of description about the policy. Also, you have the ability to go along and put in the type. And we can look at this at settings later on. So in the case of here, these are the ones actually taken from government legislation, which come into the three main types of here. In your case, your organisation might be different and you can actually amend the types. And I'll show you to do that in settings later on. The next bit is once we put the policy is the review. So again, we've taken this from the government guidance, which says these are the ones that are actually in place. And again, I'll show you later on about how you can amend these if these aren't relevant to your organisation. The important thing is next review. So the idea of putting the date in, so whether that policy has to be reviewed every year, 2 years, 4 years, that's up to you. Again, you can put this in because it's all about notifications that it'll give you. Next stage is the approval. So who's the person who's going to approve it? Again, depending on the organisation, depends what you want to put in place. So again, the words can be changed. It's just setting up an approval authoritative, who's actually going to do it. Next is who's going to approve it. And as you know from experience, the idea is try and avoid bottlenecks. But depending on the organisation, sometimes it says a group of people have to approve it. So in theory, what you end up doing is if you click all approvers and we have like 4 people here, what will actually happen is all 4 of those people have to approve it. Or you could put 4 people in here, of which just 1 person needs to approve. So the choice is yours. The next is the actual policy. So there's 3 ways in which you can do it. The choice is yours. One is to just put the text in. Next is to upload a file. So you could have it as a file, a Word document or PDF, something like that. Or the other one is if you keep your policies on a URL, OneDrive, Google Drive or something like that. My personal choice is actually to take your policy and copy it and paste it in here. And the reason for doing that is when you come to review the policy, what you'll have to do if you're not careful is to download it, the file, or download and look at the URL, make your amendments and then upload it again. So I'm all about cutting the workload. And as we go through and edit those policies and make the changes, what we have then is we actually create a history. So you can see that every time that policy has been updated or viewed, etc., you're able to create that history because the idea is knowing what is happening and when. So once the policy is put in place, you'll be able to see then about whether it's every 3 years, whether it's annual, and this is where it color codes into here, of which then if you wanted to, you can filter. So just by filtering here, you can filter all those with every 3 years. If you wanted to, and you've got a long list, because as we talked about, possibly you could have 100 policies. So if you knew the name of the policy, you can type it in here and it will automatically come to the top for you. And the same with the owner. So the idea is once the information is in here, the ability to go down and filter. And again, here you can see that if I clicked on here, we'd be able to filter these by date as well. So the idea is we're able to filter. And if you so wish as well, you could also filter down from up here. So again, if you knew a renewal period that you wanted to put in here, we can then go and filter. So it's all about putting information in that we can filter. So that more or less gives you the idea of how we end up going to put our policy in. So the next stage really is to actually look at the settings. So once we know about how to put the policy in, what kind of settings do we want to set up? And as we said, the idea is we create the basic scaffold for you. And then from there, you have the ability then to go along and change it to meet your needs. So as you can see in here, we could actually put an area in if you wanted to. So maybe that's health and safety, and you can change the color if you wanted to. The different types, well, again, from here, because we cater for different organisations, we've taken our guidance from the government. But again, if these aren't relevant to your organisation, the idea is you can either make them inactive and you can actually create your own in here. Approval authorities. Again, as I said before, this was taken from the government legislation, so you have to decide if it's relevant for your organisation. But again, if it's not, you can just make them inactive and create your own. So depending on yours, it could be departmental level or anything else like that. Renewal periods, we've put these in from the government guidance, but again, you can actually add or delete these. And if you wanted to change the colours, just go on the edit and you can actually edit the content and the colours as well. Next is about setting it up for reminders. Well, obviously we're aware that we have to manage people's workload regarding reminders because reminders come through emails. But you can see here that we can actually set up the reminders in the system. So 7 days before the policy, or if you wanted to, we can change it to 10 days, 14 days. So again, it's something you can just adapt and change. Remember just to click save once you've done it. The emails in the system, these are all here, of which again, if you wanted to, you can change the content, but with certain things such as down here with the coding, don't change that because otherwise the functionality of the system doesn't work. But you're able to change the words if you so wish. And also just by unticking here, you're able to then decide whether you actually want that email to be sent out. You also have the ability to bulk action. So for example, if you presently have all your files, your policies in a huge great folder, you can actually bulk upload those policies. But again, remember what I said about whether you want to put them in as a file or whether you feel that you'd rather go along and copy and paste that text. But again, we understand the idea of managing workload. So going forward, so that more or less covers everything to do with the policies section in our system. So the feedback from our working group has been this ticks the boxes, but again, we're quite happy as we start developing the area. The other section we've been talking about is the idea of documents, and this is a repository of information. So it's just a way of storing valuable documents that you want. So again, you can actually add a simple folder, which we've got here. So we put a folder in here, the type if you want to go along and put some content into here. And then what actually happens is you actually add your document, and you can either do it by dropping into here, or what we can do is add the document and choose it from here by selecting the file and the dish. So it could be anything. So looking at those that we've already made set up. So you can see inside one of these folders here, we have assessment and the documents inside. You can see that we've got these ones. So the idea is it's a simple repository of information that you then, if you wanted to, can actually go through and filter accordingly. So very straightforward, but it enables you to store everything in one place. So the next thing is, look, as I go through here then, as I move across, move that over to one side, is to then go. So I don't know if you've got any questions, Rachel.
No, that was really clear. And it was really good. We're brand new to College IP actually, yeah. So it's all brand new to me. Just out of interest, with the documents, policies, I'm absolutely fine with, no questions with that. But in regards to the documents,
yeah,
are those documents then downloadable for staff to use, or is it just documents?
Yeah, so what actually happens is those documents are in there, so they're in there and you have the ability. So I'm just loading it back up again. So if I move it across for you here, so you can see. Okay, let's just go in here and load up the documents again. There we are. So as we load them up here, open the folder. All right, so we should be able to now click on the document, and what actually happens is it then comes out. So you can see you'd have your document in here anyway, but it's totally up to you how you actually want to use this. We developed it for our customers based on their demand. So the choice is yours whether that's something that interests you regarding that functionality.
Yeah, no, brilliant. We keep all of ours in a separate kind of OneDrive at the moment, but it would be really useful to put them on College IP, definitely.
Oh, okay. No, thank you very much then, Rachel. So like I say, hopefully by the sound of it, I've answered all your questions for you. And as you're new, and as we're here anyway, and I can go along and do a bit of a good, how are you getting on with College IP?
Really well. Well, I say really well. I've only really had training so far, but I've liked absolutely everything I've seen and not had any problems. So yeah, it seems really good.
Oh, no, that's good, because it's one of those things when people join us, the idea is we try to make getting started as smooth as possible. And we understand that how do we say, one thing doesn't suit all. So the idea is we create the basic scaffold for you, and then we hopefully work with you to then build it based around your vision and direction.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Really enjoying it.
No, thank you very much for the feedback on that then, Rachel. Okay, so have you got any more questions then?
No, that's it. Thank you very much, Andy.
No, thank you very much for your time then.
No problem.
Okay, thank you. And you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.